If you're a fan of anti-consumer practices, then you'll probably like what Rockstar Games is doing. But you know, it's Rockstar, they're allowed to do it, even if it suddenly feels like you're ordering a game from Temu. From the lack of physical media to paying extra so that Mr. Developer doesn't cut content from your game. Over the last few days, influencers have been fighting over the tiny bit of attention sparked by the launch of GTA 6 pre-orders on June 25th. Some people defend Rockstar's decisions, others criticize them. And first, it's important to provide some context about what GTA 6 is and what perspective I'm coming from. Players have been waiting 13 years for the next GTA game after the hugely successful GTA 5 and years spent in GTA Online, which even now generates tens of millions of dollars every single month. Some people are not as excited about their child being born as they do about a new GTA game, especially considering that it will be the most expensive game in history, even more expensive than Burj Khalifa, because its development cost over $2 billion. Keeping all that in mind, you probably understand that GTA won't be just another game release. It will be a cultural event on a massive scale. That's why I don't judge anyone who has already pre-ordered the game, or even anyone who decided to pay an extra $20 for the Ultimate Edition. Rockstar is in a position where they can get away with almost anything and people still won't stop themselves from buying it. And many people consider it to be the ultimate argument against those criticizing Rockstar's decision. You're complaining, but you'll buy the game anyway. Yes, that's exactly how it looks in many cases, but I don't think that in any way it takes away those people's right to criticize Rockstar's anti-consumer practices. The problem is that it's already a bit too late to take action, but I'll explain why as we go through each point. Players usually complain about the prices of digital editions because the game that's pressed onto a disc and sold as a physical copy is often cheaper than the one that's simply a digital product. So the publisher supposedly saves a ton of money by selling the digital version, yet still charges more than for the physical one. Rockstar decided to tackle that problem in the worst possible way. Sure, the digital version is finally a bit cheaper, but in the physical game box, you won't actually find the game. Instead, you'll find nothing more than a code which, after being redeemed, gives you access to the digital version. And the empty box together with that little card containing the code can then be used to wipe your ass. So it reminds you of how Rockstar screwed you over. Because you can't lend this game to anyone, you can't sell it, you can't trade it, and apart from the box there's no noticeable difference whatsoever between this version and the digital one. This solution is absolutely terrible for everyone except Rockstar, which is why some retailers are refusing to sell GTA 6 in this fake physical edition. Players are furious and they are right. If other publishers follow Rockstar's lead, then it will be another step toward taking away even the illusion of ownership over the games people buy. And actually it's happening right now, because PlayStation announced that since 2028, PlayStation 6 will be only digital and there will be no physical copies for this console. Everyone already knows that even a physical copy of the game can be blacklisted and banned, so it won't install. The recently released Gothic remake was criticized because after installation it still had to download another 5 GB of data before it became playable. But at least nobody forces you to permanently bind the game to your account the way Rockstar does. Although there have already been games that use similar dirty tactics, the first company to attempt something like this was Valve, with Half-Life 2 back in 2004. So this tradition is now over 20 years old. After buying the Half-Life 2 disc, you received both the DVD and the activation code. Steam would install on your computer and you had to enter that code in order to permanently link the game to your account. You could say Valve walked so Rockstar could run, with a big RPG in their hands. I'm convinced that other companies are watching player reactions, and over the coming years they'll probably test the waters to see whether the same strategy could work for them as well. Recently one rumor came out saying that disc versions of the game also will appear in December, but then the second rumor came out saying that the first rumor was bullshit and such a versions will never appear. But that would be interesting, you know, releasing a disc version a week after launch so that FOMO can do its job on players. Like, you know, you just finish the game and then you're buying physical version because you're like, oh, I would like to see it in my library or something. After all, they already have years of experience releasing GTA 5 across different platforms and making people pay for the same game multiple times. That sounds exactly like Rockstar, which is why I wouldn't be surprised at all if physical discs actually appeared sometime after launch. Then GTA Online 2.0 will come out, possibly as another paid product, and finally we'll get the PC version, squeezing as much money as possible out of the most loyal fans. There's simply no defending that, and the greed is bursting off the screen like an artesian spring. Some websites claim that 39 million copies were sold within the first 24 hours. Another source claims it's already 50 million copies. That would mean Rockstar has already earned somewhere around $3 or $4 billion. But of course there's no actual evidence for that, so for the sake of everyone's sanity, let's just say it's not true. A lot of people make fun of those complaining about the lack of discs, saying physical media is outdated and asking who even uses it anymore these days. And almost on cue, this news appeared online. PlayStation's licenses for 551 movies expired, so do you know what they did? They removed them permanently. That means exactly what you think it means. The movie that you paid dozens of dollars for suddenly disappears from your library and you'll never be able to watch it again. Just like that. No right to appeal, no alternative. The exact same thing could happen to your copy of GTA 6 at any moment, and there would be absolutely nothing you could do about it. But apparently some people are perfectly fine with that. The prices of the available editions have also been revealed. The standard edition costs $80, while the ultimate edition costs $100. And what do you get for that extra money? Cosmetic additions for the single player mode. You know, the single player where you're alone and there is no one who will see it. And not even the traditional kind that simply becomes available from in-game vendors. No, here access to certain stores is literally locked unless you own the more expensive edition. It honestly looks like a cheap trick designed for TikTok, where having a video of yourself entering a certain location becomes some kind of status symbol, because otherwise nobody would ever see it. This is just a single player game. It's a completely different psychological effect, because instead of making Ultimate Edition owners feel special, it aims to make Standard Edition owners feel worse. It's exactly the same type of tactics used by companies that offer 5 days of early access only to people willing to pay extra fee. In GTA 5 we got a better standing position in the online mode, which was actually an interesting bonus. There were also 2 additional editions, the Special Edition and the Collector's Edition, which included physical bonuses. Meanwhile, in the Red Dead Redemption 2 we could choose the Ultimate Edition, which included not only cosmetic items, but also an extra mission and bonuses for the online mode, while the Collector's Edition came packed with a whole bunch of physical collectibles. Compared to those previous releases, GTA 6 feels like some kind of Temu edition that doesn't really offer anything meaningful. It's understandable that fans feel disappointed seeing the standard edition as the full game with parts of it hidden behind the paywall. But of course, everything always comes down to money, so people criticizing it are called poor or accused of hypocrisy because they'll supposedly buy the expensive edition anyway. Sure, it's much better to try to silence any criticism because a billion-dollar company might get offended otherwise. And then you will have to explain why you are again moving your days off from May to November and now from November to January. And then the PlayStation raises its prices, Xbox raises its prices, and Rockstar sets the price of its game at the long rumored $100 while leaving itself a safety valve in the form of the 80 standard edition. Personally, I don't really care because I rarely collect special editions. I am not particularly into DLC either, and I'm even less interested in cosmetic items in the single player games. But I understand where the fans' frustration comes from, and I absolutely support them on this one. Especially since, at least for now, there's not even a word about the collector's edition, meaning players can't expect any physical bonuses whatsoever for what is probably the biggest game launch of this decade. With Rockstar's previous games, you could at least count on that silly paper map. All we can really hope for is that only the publishing decisions are this bad, and that the game's enormous budget was actually spent on something truly worthwhile. Something that makes up for the lack of a proper physical edition and for locking access to buildings behind the poor people's version. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that GTA 6 won't just be another game. It will be the biggest gaming event in the history of industry. Most players understand that, but unfortunately Rockstar seems to have approached it from a completely different perspective. I expected that, knowing how important the next GTA is for gaming as a whole, they would do everything they could to make this release feel truly special. I expected proper physical editions, broad and creative marketing, and multiple editions where each higher tier wouldn't be just another way for players to support the developers, but also a way for Rockstar to thank fans for waiting all these years. GTA 6 was supposed to be the Hermes Birkin bag of video games. It's a bag that you can't even pick, they are picking it for you and it costs a lot of money. It's supposed to be an event that would divide the gaming industry into before GTA 6 and after GTA 6. Instead, we are getting a Temu style release, where the publisher uses every trick in the book just to squeeze even more money out of its fans. The only thing missing from this scenario is for the game itself to crash and burn spectacularly. With a $2 billion budget, that would be a perfect conclusion to the greed and corruption of an industry that we, the players, have supported for years, even when nobody else believed in it. Time and time again, we gave these companies the benefit of the doubt, and time again we got slapped across the face for it. It would be incredibly ironic if the GTA 6 turned out to be the final nail in the coffin. But what the launch will actually look like we'll only find out in November, because before opening pre-orders, Rockstar couldn't even be bothered to show a single piece of gameplay footage. I genuinely wish this game the best, although I doubt it will be able to live up to the expectations of people who have been waiting for it for the last 13 years. I'm curious whether you plan to buy it, or maybe you already secured your own virtual pre-order copy. As always, the comments are yours and the likes are mine, so leave one under this video and I'll see you in the next one. For now, take care, bye bye.